Welcome back to Night Mind, friends. And hey, listen, if you're a constant viewer of mine, have a seat. I know you might be a bit shaky right now. If you're new here, hold on a moment. I gotta chat with the usual visitors for just a second. This subgenre, Mascot horror. I know it's not like me, at first glance. Our very brief brushes with anything like it have been due to absolute excellency in nonfiction achievement that only sort of runs across that subgenre categorization and defies tropes. Shipwreck 64, Underwater Wonders. I did that one on Nightmind Live, but I'll come back to it here soon for a deeper exploration. You get it? Deeper. Underwater Wonders. Usually, something like Giggleland would appear in my radar and I'd just blink and let it pass, if not for two things. Its animated ad rollout is actually dedicated and quality, and stylized period animation error work is always a way to get me. And second, but more importantly, for an ARG production meant to build hype around an incoming Steam release, this team isn't playing around, and I experienced their excitement going through it, which compelled me to go further, and the revelations that it comes with. I've looked at what's come out in the pre-launch phase, I've looked at all of it, and seriously, this team means it. The levels of "you thought you knew what this was" keep increasing as you go on, to the point of so much enjoyment and respect that I feel I've got to do this topic tonight for our visits. Because if they mean it enough to do this now, maybe the upcoming Steam game it includes will be awesome? Unanticipated? Mold-breaking? Look, Mascot horror is oversaturated, full of tropes and milked to the top of the pail. Everybody knows it. Starry-eyed Scott Cawthon wannabes smelled as much money as they wanted if they just played the right angles and developed entire multi-chapter systems with constant merchandise rollouts, where every slice of the theme park requires its own ticket purchase. You know it, I know it, your mother who lives on Instagram and only checks out beauty product reviews somehow knows it. And I think the Giggleland developers know it too, and designed with that in mind, and the thought of it gives me such a Cheshire Cat grin. I'm inclined to give this project its moment to show us what it can do and who it is. And after seeing what's built so far, I'm making the informed choice of buying the ticket and going in knowing something the early detractors don't. It's spoken to me, and I like what I'm hearing. So, wanna get in on the ground floor? Let's start with Giggleland's premiere, a YouTube ad that played on several channels that have to do with, surprise, ARG and internet horror exploration, including my own, according to what I've read about its rollouts.
Welcome to Giggleland! I'm Eliot. And I'm Ella. And we're happy you're here. But before you head into the park, there are some rules you must know first.
There's rules? I thought this place was fun.
It is fun, Ella, but you can't have fun if you're not being safe. Rule number 1. Stay out of areas you cannot enter. If you see this sign, that means you have to stay away.
Oh, but what if I want to know what's inside?
Well, I'll tell you. These areas are filled with machinery that helps keep the park running. You don't want the park to break down, do you?
I guess not.
Rule number 2. You must be the appropriate height to ride the rides. If your head doesn't reach the arm, that means you can't ride.
That's not fair!
Remember, this is for your safety, Ella. Rule number 3. If there's a hat in the park, follow the exit signs and get out.
Hey, what happened to the lights?
Rule number 4.
Eliot, what's going on?
Don't be afraid. There's no reason to fear us.
Eliot!
Rule number 5. If you feel a panic setting in, remember to take deep breaths.
Someone stop him! Please, Eliot, stop!
Rule number 6. Don't close your eyes, or you'll miss the best part.
Tropey? Yeah, it's got the tropes. Cute child's media portrayal, setup played straight despite tipping into obvious threatening material out of the genre, presentation of monstrous aspects way too early, and everything about the sense of something being disturbing. YouTube horror's favorite buzzword for 3 years running, laid on as thick as the butter I pour in my popcorn at the movie theater. Because of course this is popcorn, but that animation and voice work is delightful and evocative of cartoons for young kids seen in the early 2000s. This top comment on the video hits the target dead center. Mascot horror has become so common that nobody thought this was a cutesy animation the first time seeing it. The idea presented is pretty straightforward. You're safe at Giggleland as long as you don't go looking in staff areas or ignoring hazard situations, because someone in a mascot costume might abduct you and rip out your eyeballs or give you the Joker's laughing gas. Hey, is that shot of the Eliot mascot in the doorway a little purple-coated? Actually, all of Eliot is pretty purple-coated. I know cats wearing purple giving presentations in horror is a shot I shouldn't be taking in most circumstances, but in this subgenre context, I'm gonna have a little fun with it. I need to address the glitches briefly. Lots of text there, but it's actually not important. To explain why, if I can direct you here to the video description, we have my age-old nemesis binary code, run it through the decoder, and we have a Discord server for Giggleland. Joining means agreeing to the rules, of course. We have a peculiarity in acknowledging the ARG aspect. The cartoons produced by KMW aired years ago. You won't find any hidden information relevant to Giggleland in them today, especially if they glitch or show errors. It's an odd inclusion, but frame-by-frame study of the media makes this make sense. The sweeping majority of it is flavor effects with text that you can't even properly discern for true meaning. My guess is that the game runners are not happy with the choices made in including them. I think that there's a possibility of edits to these videos coming later to better reflect Giggleland's adventure and the team's intention. Take it as law from the Game Master representative, along with what else is noted in the guide about what's out of game. Forget parsing text inside the glitch effects. Note the glitches as the prominent thing. The text is irrelevant. Everything we're about to go over is actually in-game. The rules inspire us to check out the website, and there is a channel with official links. I believe these were meant to be found organically, and I know one immediate connection for one of them. If you go to the Steam page, you'll find the game developers are listed as KMW and a YouTube video ID, a first in game development history and probably YouTube history. If we check out the YouTube video that helped develop this game, we get Eliot Ella Episode 3 2010.avi.
Eliot! Come on and help me already!
Oh, all right, I'm coming. I'm sorry, Ella. I must have lost track of time. Wow, I didn't realize there were so many weeds.
No! You're doing it all wrong! Here, watch this. If you pull it out too quickly, you won't actually pull the root out. You need to be careful and firm, like this.
Wow, Ella, you're really strong.
Oh, I know you can be strong too. Just remember What do you jerks want?
Looks like somebody dropped this.
Hey, that's mine.
Time to play cat in the middle. You think you'll be famous one day? As if. Oh.
Eliot, we need to remove the weeds from the garden.
No problem, Mr. T. Ella really helped me out. Where is Ella? Hey, Ella!
This is a lot more interesting, right? So here we have Ella in the position of power and influence, with Eliot dreaming of a future in which he's in the role we saw for Giggleland's ad. Notice the theme between both videos though. There's computer machinery malfunction occurring in a sequence involving Eliot that puts him in a threatening stance, and then kids go missing. The most obvious idea we can draw when it's this subgenre is animatronics gone haywire, right? An Eliot animatronic that goes on the loose and snaps, but we'll need better evidence to make a claim like that, especially because the first video showed that it's kind of a mascot costume as opposed to an animatronic. You can see the stitching along the side of the head. The hint about avoiding staff areas in the first video to ensure the proper function of machinery gives us a reason to lean in that direction though. We've also got the introduction of an adult character speaking to Eliot here, Mr. T. In the video description for this upload, we have more binary code and an instruction, base 64 plus PDF. And we're going to get to that, but let's go back to the Steam page for a moment. There's something here related to the ideas of a malfunctioning Eliot I want to bring up. As with most Steam releases, there's a trailer video in the first slot of the media preview carousel. That's the ad that's played. We've seen it. The rest are screenshots from the game. The area in Giggleland we've already seen at night, a trip through the maintenance tunnel reminiscent of the first video, a Ferris wheel, and then a character-actor space for Eliot mascots. There's a little girl back here, our playable character, approaching the mirror. In the next image, we see her again, looking more directly into the mirror. And then there's a third shot here, exactly the same position, but with a menu pulled up and two key differences. The Eliot mascot has now appeared in the background, lurking in the dark, and in the lower left corner, we have the development console issuing a bunch of warnings in red text, similar to some of the glitching sequences in the previous videos. Zoom in on those warnings. Info. Refer to the system documentation for parameter details, admin.giggleland. Warning. Detected unexpected behavior during idle state. Event triggered outside expected parameters. Error. Invalid model spawn detected. Output. Invalid model spawn, model ID null. Error. Unregistered model instantiated at position. Warning. Issue flagged as P1, critical. Please submit findings via report tool. Do you understand what this means? That Eliot model in the background shouldn't be there. It spawned during the idle state. It popped up while it was paused. The ideas of glitches related to Eliot may not be hinting at an animatronic at all in-universe. The game itself may be corrupted in the way he behaves, which I actually really like, and I respect it a lot as a fresh idea in a mascot horror game. I really hope this interpretation's correct. As for the rest of what's on Steam, here's the run-through of the game. Welcome to Giggleland! Join Toli on her very special day at the park as she searches for her missing father. Explore our wonderful attractions, meet our ever-smiling staff, and experience the magic that makes Giggleland the happiest place in the world. Just remember, every guest must follow the rules. The management is very particular about that. Navigate through themed areas filled with colorful characters and hidden passages, each holding pieces of the truth. Solve intricate puzzles throughout the park. After all, good children follow directions. Uncover a story of family, belonging, and the true cost of endless happiness. The park is waiting. Will you join us? You know what? If things keep turning out as cool as they're shaping up, I actually might. Back to the binary code on that second video. When decoded, it reads, visit our website for more fun. So we do that, finding ourselves at giggle.land, a discovery made by Giggleland Discord server user FaceMelter9000. Thank you, FaceMelter9000. And it really is fun. An old website, little bit amateur, some elements scrolling, others flashing. Some of the screenshots from Steam are here, but one is different. The shot of Toli at the character-actor mirror looks like we're viewing her from Eliot's perspective as he stands in the dark. That's disconcerting. But hey, check out these guest reviews, especially that first one. A joy to play. We wish this theme park was real. This game is in-universe of the story. Just a game. Okay, like the story of Giggleland is at its home media, produced by KMW. Our position here on the outside of it, treating it this way, is a layer of the narrative. There's not actually a theme park that inspired this. Anything we observe from here on out has to be in a lens around the player experience and development of the game, not so much in-game. Of course, it's going to be playable, and that's fun, but this is a major component of why the ARG goes as deep as it does, and we've barely begun to see that. This is every bit part of the production and intended experience. Okay. Yeah, I'm in. Binary code or not, I'm in. It's shaping up to actually be appropriate use of binary code too, funny enough. Am I excited about a mascot horror game? Is that what this is? Is that what's happening? What is this? That third review, I can't stop smiling, I can't stop giggling, I can't stop being happy, falls in line with the end of the first video, as Eliot spirals into that giggling fit that won't end. We might be able to take this seriously, not just as some scary touch. There are a few links on the page we can visit. If you go to the About page, you'll find everything askew. The character meeting section has 2 illustrations in the wrong place, as it's supposed to be Eliot and Ella, and the arrows don't work. If you open their images in new tabs, you'll find the file names identify Tolly, who we've already seen, and the rabbit is named Rory. We're told, there is no fighting. You will experience no pain. You will feel loved. You will giggle and smile forever. Wish list now. We make games with love and care for all to share. Followed by a reappearance of the screenshots. The contact page is also messed up, and while you can fill out the form boxes, you're also told you can message directly at joshkmw@gmail.com. So that gives us a character, and if you email Josh, you'll get an out-of-office reply with a link in the footer. kidsmediaworkshop.com, which must be the in-game way of finding the company site as well as what it stands for. We're not done with the Giggleland site yet though, so head on back, try the guestbook, and it's a mess. Wow. What is this language? The news page is equally screwed, no understanding of what the text is. At least someone's happy. The gallery page is broken, probably because we can already visit that in 2 different pages. Then there's secrets. The text on this button is discernible. Go. Oh, okay. At least there's some ambient music to go along with this ocean of Eliots. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being stressing and 10 being soothing, how do you rate that experience? Personally, I give it a 5. Last note on this page. The title in the URL is fun.html. Very fun, thank you. There's one more clickable item on the Giggleland site, the star image. We're given a page of text from Bowlby's research findings, referenced in Texas Child Care of Fall 2010, page 18. When infants are left to cry it out, their cries go through a predictable sequence of behaviors. Phase 1, protest, loud cries and extreme restlessness. Phase 2, despair, monotonous cry, inactivity, gradual withdrawal. Phase 3, detachment, renewed interest, albeit remote, withdrawn, distant. A baby left to cry it out will eventually stop crying, but it won't be because distress has been eliminated, but rather the baby learns that there is no longer any hope. This is a different kind of scary than we're used to in this sort of project, actually. It's clinical, a calculated infliction of cruelty. I hadn't expected this. Now we have 2 indications of year 2010 in the project. And if we roll back to the first one, Eliot Ella episode 3, and check that video description again, we've still got to reconcile that line, base 64 plus PDF. Base 64 decoding, that's obvious. PDF is a file type. We don't have anything in base 64 yet, but we do have another site we can explore, KMW, Kids Media Workshop, who produced Giggleland. Very strange thing. The moment you get in, it asks for use of your camera and microphone to enhance your experience. I have no idea why it's asking for that. An audio player on the left as soon as you're in will allow you to play fun.mid. Right, that's a lot lower on the stressing to soothing scale. Let's recover with this immediate catch. Our base 64 code centered in red above the online number. Translation is KMW/report_nov_23_1990.pdf. It's a URL extension for the Kids Media Workshop site. Now we're really making progress. Missing person report, 8-year-old Laura Emily Rose. Brown hair, bruise under right eye, left arm in a dark blue sling from a recently broken arm. last seen wearing a white shirt with pink flowers / navy blue long pants / gray socks and a purple and pink beaded bracelet. As a social worker, Dr. Kelly Terrence, and a history of anxiety reported under treatment with Dr. Valtteri Nadir before undergoing treatment with Dr. Terrence, who she sees twice a week. Laura lives with her mother, Amy, separated from the father, Alan Palerna, who mysteriously had a prominent cut on his bottom lip. On November 23, 1990, at 6:36 a.m., Amy Robes called to report her daughter missing from her bedroom. Officers Caden and Malaru responded and found various belongings missing from Laura's room, including clothes, snow boots, a blanket, stuffed animals, and a drawing pad. The window in Laura's room was slightly open. Miss Robes acknowledges the window was closed when tucking her daughter in the night before. A search in the woods near the house turned up 2 sets of footprints, one child, one adult. Miss Robes summarized the previous night as follows. Laura had been watching TV from 6:30 p.m. to 8. At that time, Miss Robes turned off the TV, eliciting rage from Laura, demanding the TV be turned on. Wanting to watch past bedtime was normal, but anger was a new response. Laura claimed she needed to watch the end of the episode because she had seen her name at the end of a previous episode and needed to see what happened. Miss Robes turned the TV back on, but the program had already ended. Laura was adamant about watching anyway, but eventually went to bed at 8:30 p.m. At 10:45, Miss Robes went to bed. She said she heard no noises during the night and her only suspect is her ex-husband. Laura's anxiety had increased since Miss Robes filed for divorce on November 5th, just weeks prior to the disappearance. Miss Robes claimed Mr. Palerna had assaulted Laura, leading to her broken elbow. It's noted that their social worker, Dr. Kelly Terrence, has this information, and Laura was closer to Dr. Nadir. This is terrible. From a storytelling level, it's fascinating, but wow. We have a missing child willfully having left the home after claiming to see their name at the end of a program 20 years before the time frame we've been receiving info about a fictional theme park game. I want to know how this factors in immediately. Let's go back to KMW's site and look around. It said they've been empowering young minds since 1993. That's after the missing report for Laura. Except if you zoom in on the logo, it says it was established in 1990 when Laura went missing. What's the actual start date here? Why the conflict? 4 properties are under their banner: Eliot and Ella, Mother Terra, Terry's Vegetable Patch, and the Captain's Sales. No mention of Giggleland. There's a guest book, a few pages, and a menu on the left, and a privacy policy. Let's try that first. I'm curious. Majority of the page rundown is standard privacy policy until you get to the bottom. Therapeutic services. At the Kids Media Workshop, we work with certified therapists who specialize in child psychology. We take great care to ensure all therapists are board certified and understand the privacy policies we have in effect regarding any sensitive personal information. Should we need to break confidentiality with any of the children attending our program, parents and guardians will be notified of this immediately. We take great care in ensuring the safety and privacy of those who participate in the workshop. We have worked with therapists who have studied under great minds, such as Eric H. Erickson. We thank you for your cooperation. Kids Media Workshop isn't for the production of kids media as entertainment. It's for production of kids' therapeutic media through a workshop that directly involves them. This isn't about cartoons or even edutainment. This is totally different from what it's giving on the surface and just keeps getting further away from first impression. Eric H. Erickson is a real person. He was an American child psychoanalyst and visual artist known for his theory on psychosocial development who coined the phrase identity crisis. He's authored a few books, but his best known and most impactful is Childhood and Society from 1950. He served as a professor at Harvard and Yale, a deeply influential man in the field of psychology and schools of thought, formation of theory, and practice. Remember the article cited earlier from Texas Child Care in fall of 2010? Eric Erickson cited there for his presentation on the 8 stages of psychosocial development, and the relevant stage to the article is the first, trust versus mistrust. Our understanding of KMW increases in the About Us page. We are a nonprofit workshop dedicated to helping children express themselves through artistic expression and channel their creativity. We are a passionate group of artists, animators, and writers who help bring children's stories to life. Founded on the principles of child psychology, our mission is to give troubled kids a healthy outlet for their thoughts and feelings by producing great entertainment for other kids. Because of the unique way our workshop is run, we're able to combine the innocence and energy of childhood imagination with the artistic expertise of our creative leaders. This results in various cartoons and books that are beautifully crafted and carry messages of hope, perseverance, and adventure, values that every kid should understand. Our supervised sessions give kids the tools they need to express themselves through writing, animation, and voice acting. Group sessions are run by a licensed therapist and critically acclaimed animators and writers to help bring stories to life while keeping children safe and happy. Cartoons that reflect values every kid should understand, huh? The way Eliot handled those other kids in episode 3 is in line with how we like to do things over here, but obviously maiming and burying your enemies isn't such an approved therapeutic response in professional methods, so I don't know what happened in that animated piece, actually. It probably started from a therapist-approved place. There's an odd message from the founder, Terry. It's screaming secret message. We all know it, but nothing discernible pops out from the immediately sensible approach. Let's hold on to this. It might get a cipher later. Going to keep the idea that Terry might be Dr. T in mind, and that the only Terry we already know is Dr. Valterry, Laura's preferred specialist. Also falls in line with the Terry and Tara in the property names. Trying the Our Stories page results in random number generators in every single page element. 1222, 1223, 1224, and what's probably 1225 Christmas Day are listed here. I can't make any sense of this at all. Maybe later. Let's back out the way we came in. Want to try the Parent Zone? It's more text in line with the mission of KMW with some testimony from parents who are not named. 2 kids give praise to Debbie and Simon. The kids are named, but not the parents. As for contact, you can go to the page, but you can't send an email. You also can't sign the guest book, that link goes nowhere. So does adding to favorites, that's more of an old internet thing. Let's try accessing the 4 properties on the front page. Eliot and Ella first, of course. Oh. Alright, just as broken as Giggleland. Anybody else got a little chill that something might pop out or change at any second? Not a fan of this page. Let me grab that text for us quick. Eliot and Ella is a cartoon that helps teach children about the powers of kindness and friendship. Eliot is a shy cat who's afraid to stand up for himself. His best friend Ella is a brave dog who's not afraid to stand up for herself and her friend. Join these two as they learn how to rely on each other by being the very best of friends and learning how to stand up against bullies and other negative forces. The cartoon was written by children who had trouble learning to express themselves and speak up. Our team worked with them on identifying these struggles and coming up with relatable characters the children aspire to be. Eliot and Ella truly are a workshopped idea by kids in therapy, which means Giggleland is probably spun out of the same process. Makes sense. The name and concept are quite childish, right? This also gives a lot more reason to love the approach taken in the animation work. It is exactly the child-friendly, teach-the-kid style from character design to voice work and movement. They were trying to be as authentic as possible here. Bravo! The Mother Terra page is missing. Terry's vegetable patch works, but lacks images that should be here. Terry's vegetable patch was one of the first cartoons created by the first generation of KMW. The cartoon focuses on Farmer Terry, a man who moves from the big city to inherit a farm full of talking animals. Watch Farmer Terry grow into his own as he learns from his friends how to take care of the farm and even go on some wacky adventures. The children of KMW helped in creating unique talking animals that showcase their personalities. The children want to make a story that wasn't just fun and lighthearted, but also emphasized how to work together and create new friends along the way. The Captain Sales is a page that also exists, even if the images are also broken, but an offer to download a secret treasure map makes up for that, and we'll check it out in a moment. Description for Captain Sales is a comic book where readers go on adventures with Captain Bolster, a pirate who sails the mighty seas with his crew. Discover the mysteries of lost lands and learn about new cultures as the crew embarks on new adventures in every issue. With a love of exploration and wonder, the children built out this expansive world they wish to explore. Each character is heavily inspired by the children who helped create this series to learn more about their backstories and the places they wish to travel to when they grow up. The treasure map is a trip. 3 folders, marked blue, green, and red, and the contents are PNG images of dots that have been numbered. Clearly, it's an overlay approach, but what do we apply it to? What if we search for the missing property on KMW? Giggleland isn't here, but we understand the URL conventions for the site. Try giggleland.html as an extension, and here we get red, blue, plus green as the only element on the page. Now there's a clue for the map. As for where we pick up from here, it gets a little wild. Did you know you could hide media files inside of a PDF? Because that's what they did with the missing report about Laura. Let's address something associated quick before we get to that though. Remember how I said earlier that one of the very first codes was for the Discord server? This is one of the most thriving, cohesive, organized ARG Discord servers I've ever seen, and I'd like to give a round of applause to its members, moderators, and admins. There's a lot of discovery, collaboration, celebration, tracking things, and especially doing their best to keep a positive, goal-oriented atmosphere. Giggleland is more complex than a few basic maneuvers of ARG, and working together has brought things into active play a lot. Aurora and her co-players have done a lot as well here, and I wanted to establish that before addressing the missing report file. It was their study as a unit that uncovered and began interpreting what to do about an audio file embedded in the PDF. Problem was, it was password protected. So what could the password have been? On the Giggleland site was one more page we haven't visited, which may have been hinted at through the Steam screenshots. bugreport.html. As soon as it loads in, we even see similar language. So let's try to make some sense of this as well as collect the piece we need to move forward. User input detected /quit. Command is rejected because there's a session lock and we have to wait for process termination. Then an unexpected event observed during gameplay state, like in the Steam screenshot. But that was in the idle state. Still, a new model appears and coordinates are given. Not the same as in the Steam screenshot, mind you. Another message. No corresponding script located for shadowcasting initialization. So whatever's just popped in, there's no script attached for it for exactly what you think, which is casting shadows. User was told to submit their findings with a report tool, then tried to force quit twice and were denied. They tried to call a move command on a null object. I'm guessing they were trying to move whatever spawned in, and were told it wasn't set to any instance of an object. These error codes place the engine as Unity, by the way. Another error report is requested, but they attempt to force quit. Critical process dependency is listed. A message in base 64 that decodes to Sarah. Render pipeline asset is listed as missing or incompatible. Another force quit is attempted, and then the whole thing crashes after running out of system memory due to an overflow. Whatever happened here, it filled the available space to the point of bringing the entire session down and forcing an error report in the form of crash logs. So we have a base 64 code meaning Sarah. Where do we plug that in? Earlier, we did get an instruction, base 64 plus PDF, from Eliot Ella episode 3. If you take the name Sarah and the case number from the PDF's missing report, you get the password to the media file, missing.wave, cracked by Discord user Timus. Gratitude and due praise to everybody in the Giggleland Discord who worked on this one. There was a lot of visible effort to get there.
Happy birthday to our dear We really wanted to celebrate your special day with you. It's a shame your mother took you away before the started. It would have been so much fun. We would have invited all your friends for cake and games. Imagine all the presents you'd have. Maybe when you're older we can find each other. We'll give you a gift you'll never forget. We love you. Happy birthday.
Wow, that's coherent messaging from Eliot and spectrogram imagery. Let's see. Sounds like Eliot is saying Sarah, not Laura. That's distinct, right? And her birthday, what day would that be? Sarah's mother took her away. Laura's mother took her away from the TV before show could end that she wanted to see through to the credits. The spectrograms are here. One of them looks like the odd symbols on the Giggleland website, and the other is a bunch of blocks. Discord players deduced this was a map to use with the capital letters in the founder's message from the KMW site, spelling out the word crying. We've already associated the idea of crying with isolation and babies under therapy concepts for children's behavior, which KMW is all about. Trying this word with HTML on their site gives us this page. Congratulations, you found the key. But what does it open? That's Eric H. Erickson, who we've already discovered. He's the key, huh? Alright, crying. If there's a website page we already have concerning crying and Erickson is the key, then we put the two together. Let's revisit that article from the spot this lead began. Of course, Erickson is mentioned here, but if you go to the references, you'll find Childhood in Society, his most famous book. And if you thought it was impressive already to hide an audio file inside the makeup of a PDF, get this. The treasure map, with all its green, red, and blue dots as numbered images, is meant to be overlaid on the pages of the book's second edition corresponding to the file number, a discovery made by user Sir Cornelius J. The colored dots work with the book the same way the block spectrogram worked over the founder's message. This ARG isn't messing around in the slightest. Few people ever care nowadays to go this deep outside the true puzzles and cryptography ARG divers. I'm more respectful of this effort already than I anticipated I could be heading in. So players did what was necessary, opening up a digital copy and diligently going about collecting the information, following the previous hint of red, blue, plus green on the missing Giggleland page from KMW's website. It produced a pretty long string of text, as you can imagine, and players were left wondering, what the hell do you do with this? It wasn't base 64 again. This brings us to another element I've never seen used in ARG tactics, the first being hiding an audio file in the data of a PDF. A key derivative function cipher. Credit for that discovery goes to the user Trueheads in the Discord. If you use the word crying as the key, which KMW did tell us it was, then you crack a YouTube URL for a video titled The Second Hijack 2010. The description reads, "Where did you take her, Debbie?" And we know Eliot's already accused someone's mother, Sarah's, of taking her away, whoever Sarah is. Alright, step back a moment. Let's examine this a little. Clean up our sense of timeline and who, what, and where. KMW, a children's therapy by media workshop organization, can't make up its mind on whether it was established in 1990 or 1993. Its founder Terry shares name likeness with Terry of its property Terry's Vegetable Patch and Mother Tara, and Dr. Val Terry, who was Laura's specialist in 1990 up to her parents' divorce. It also coincides with Mr. T as spoken by Eliot. November 1990, Laura was watching TV expecting to see her name at the end of an episode of a show, got denied, and left home through her bedroom window in the night. She was accompanied by an adult or someone with much larger shoe prints, and packed up with the expectation of not returning. In 2010, 20 years later, we have Giggleland, a media property by KMW with expectations of releasing a game featuring their animated characters Eliot and Ella. Eliot is on a file wishing a happy birthday to Sarah, who was taken by her mother. Ella, in this video, the second hijacking, is heard in episode 3 with an audio interruption, and this may be directly related to the question in the description, "Where did you take her, Debbie?" Is it possible that both of these cases are of missing girls under slightly different circumstances, but both were watching TV and experienced something directed at them? A kind of familiarity that promised more. What was the nature of the hijacking here, and what occurred in the first one? Let's observe what precisely happened with the media of episode 3 in this moment. I'm going to play both clips synchronized. You should hear them doubled up a bit. Once the double up stops, that's the missing component.
You won't actually pull the root out. You need to be careful and firm, like this.
Wow, Ella, you're really strong!
Oh, I know you can be strong too. Just remember...
The living room recording clip is slower than the original. Stylistic touch, maybe. Not so relevant, I think. What's important here is that there is an interruption and we can see it reflected in the lighting. That's the hijacking portion. Everything else about the episode sounds normal. Here, let me try synchronizing them better.
You won't actually pull the root out. You need to be careful and firm, like this.
Wow, Ella, you're really strong!
Oh, I know you can be strong too.
Yeah, see it? The way the whole room darkens during that missing audio portion, then the lighting comes back when Ella does? What's missing from the TV in this exact living room is what's important here. Got some good news for you though. We're not done. This video has a written transcript, reading. She speaks to herself. Alone she begins to stand. Reaching her hands, she begs for some light. Answers. That is all she wants. Her travels are only just tumbles. She who speaks, 06. Follow the first letters of each line, and it spells out Sarah, followed by She Who Speaks 06. This clue lines up with a post from the official Giggleland Twitter. Tumble through the tracks. Tumble along the path and watch. She Who Speaks is one worth seeing. Follow her and ask her what you may. The use of the word tumble is prominent, and it's used in the YouTube clue too. Is it a Tumblr account? Turns out, yes. Can you find it with the clues you got here? No. Not directly, anyway. No. This is the only point at which I'm going to confirm what the Game Masters probably already figured out during this moment players found this bit and tried to solve it. The roundabout way of discovering this might have been a touch too head-scratchy, since you used such direct language in the transcript that playing with the wording wasn't going to get anyone there fast. And it probably went over a few heads of playing with the wording with other information. If it had been She Is Speaking 06, it might have cracked within an hour. You're going to have moments of finding you didn't quite connect a wire strongly enough or had a bolt twisted just a little too tight while running an ARG. It's okay. You still had the pieces on the board that were necessary. This was just a language issue. Anyway, info time. The discovery for this came with a little bit of voice of God hinting towards a Reddit post under r/weird about a Tumblr blog by Sarah Is Speaking 06, a girl who seems to be stuck in her house making weird posts. I wonder what life would have been like if I was born in the commune. I'd probably have to do all those chores, which yeah, would suck, but like, at least there would be other people. Maybe I would have had a lot of friends and could have learned to draw with mom. Now that I think about it though, if the commune was on a farm, did that mean they had no Wi-Fi? And then we have sketches her mother made, which... oh, cartoon animals, including a cat with a top hat and a very familiar outfit crossed out. I think we know where this is leading. Then there are these other two shared Reddit posts. Mom said she'll make me a special graduation dinner tomorrow night, which is sweet, but if we're celebrating, why don't we go to a restaurant instead? Besides, I always wanted to go to one. I can't even go for a walk outside my house. The moment Mom can't see me from the window, she taps on it like crazy. It's so loud, too. This is an easy situation to read. Her mother escaped from a commune, or what the people there called a commune, before Sarah was born. Now she's either constantly relocating them, which suggests the "where did you take her" line, or she's been raised outside general society to keep her safe because the members of whatever she escaped are looking for them. Want to guess in advance that this commune might be the real Giggleland, and people don't come back from it? Want to try guessing in advance that Debbie used to be Laura too and she made it out? Want to guess that the hijacking was an attempt to capture them both by exploiting Sarah through KMW Media? I'd like to place all those ideas on the table right now and see if any of them turn up correct. And I'm thinking it's probably going that way on at least 2 points. Let's hit that blog now and see what's going on with Sarah, our first interactable character in the game. And right away, you cannot make this up, opening the Tumblr smack in the center just days ago, a photo of her TV focused on the credits with the copyright for Kids Media Workshop at the bottom. Also, that's a great old CRT set, but it feels like a match for the audio quality we heard in the second hijacking. Prominent focus here on written by Simon Sampson, and if we scroll, we get just before it, character artist Debbie Sampson. That took literally no time, holy shit. Okay, Debbie Sampson, Sarah's mother, didn't just run from a commune involved with KMW, she was the character artist for what I'm guessing is Eliot and Ella, and her husband Simon was the writer. Wait, hold on, Debbie and Simon. Debbie and Simon, the only kids named on the KMW Parents Zone, ages 11 and 13, Debbie and Simon. They were both kids in the workshop. And it gets better. Check out what Sarah wrote just before this. Fuck, I can't stop crying. What the fuck did I just watch? Why was this in the basement? Who made this? Scroll a little further and bingo, Eliot and Ella on VHS, episode Making Friends. Debbie's on the run from KMW, which is a much bigger and insidious workshop than as advertised, and she's been moving Sarah around to keep them safe from discovery. She and Simon were there as children, and they developed Eliot and Ella. Usually, I'd have to go through the whole Tumblr of a character from the start to tell this side of a story, but that was just right there the moment I opened it. And I'm guessing it's because of all the Discord players who've been interacting with Sarah and giving her courage to explore the basement and find out who her mother is exactly. Great work. And actually, wow, it's literally right here too, in this post just before all of that. I'm sorry I've kept you all waiting. I've been scared. I want to know what Mom's hiding, but I'm also really scared of what I could find. You've all been encouraging me the past few days to be strong and that I need to take action into my own hands. I'm grabbing the key tonight when she's asleep. Bravo, Giggleland players. You've succeeded in one of the long-standing branches of ARG gameplay, the interactive character in a tough spot. Well done. Alright, so, Kids Media Workshop creates its stuff using the children as designers, and we have the old drawings of Debbie's. Debbie and Simon came up with Eliot and Ella, which was then turned into a professional production by KMW. Debbie fled the workshop, aka commune, and Simon stayed behind. I'll scan the Tumblr quickly for info that helps us understand more. Looks like the friendship gained with players encouraged Sarah at first to ask her mother about the past directly, and she did get some answers. She finally calmed down and told me why she doesn't want me in her room. She doesn't want me seeing her past. She told me she's ashamed of it and she wouldn't want me to see what she's done. I don't know why she wants to keep it though. I tried asking her, but she just said there's some memories she has to hold on to. I asked about the commune, and she told me that wasn't a good place. She said it was great when she was a child, but things changed. She didn't want me to grow up there with those changes. She left with some friends, but she doesn't talk to them anymore. She won't tell me why, and she doesn't want to. She won't let me use my laptop alone. I have to be with her if I use it or it's gone for good. I'll just say my phone is broken and try to keep this a secret. When she was a child, it was great. What changed? And is Debbie actually Debbie? Or is it possible she was Laura and changed her name when she entered KMW? Let's do a little math here. Laura was 8 years old in 1990. 2025, we can assume Sarah is about 18, having just completed high school level education online. That makes her birth around 2007. Laura would have been 25 if she's actually Debbie. Otherwise, if Debbie is a different girl and was 11 right when Eliot and Ella was produced around 2010, the math is impossible because Sarah's birth is before 2010. The only explanation that works outside of Debbie being Laura is if Debbie joining KMW and Eliot and Ella being produced was well before 2010, but I don't see that being the case. What else have we got that might back up the idea that Debbie is Laura? Here's a snippet of answering someone that confirms the theory of Debbie never feeling quite safe in their location. It hasn't happened in a long time, but when I was little I did hear tapping on the windows. Sometimes the door would shake or I would hear what I thought were whispers, but my mom just told me that it was just the wind and the trees. It's been a long time since I heard those sounds, so maybe she was right. There's also a post about Sarah getting a flash drive. Be prepared for a dead drop from Sarah on the run in the future, possibly, in which you can pick up that flash drive. This is probably signaling something like that well in advance. I'm not going to be surprised. Someone tried showing Sarah the audio file with her name, and she claims not to hear her name, but doesn't appreciate being shown scary things. Funny, all things considered. She has graduated her online courses for the normal run of things through high school and would like to go to art college, but her mother wants her to stay and Sarah has no money. When asked if she believes in ghosts, Sarah says, "Yeah, when I was little I thought the house was haunted because of the sounds I heard at night, but Mom just told me it was because the house is old." She informed someone asking about her favorite song that it's Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, the lyrics to which could easily apply to Debbie's point of view raising her on the run. As for the father, I wonder if my dad is still in the commune. Mom didn't tell me when she left, so is he still there? I never met him before and Mom doesn't have any photos around. I've asked about my dad before, but Mom doesn't like talking about him. She really doesn't like to talk about anyone she's known. She never talks about my dad, or her parents, or her uncle, or her cousins. The adults at this commune were runners that would go for supplies while everyone stayed in the village. The kids had chores like cooking and cleaning and taking care of animals, and this barn, like wow, that is too much work. Mom said I should be glad we're not there since I have it so good, but like, at least she went outside. She didn't like talking about her uncle much. She said he was an artist and taught the kids how to draw and express themselves, which is really cool. I wonder if that's what those drawings were. I asked why she left and she just said she didn't like it, which like, yeah, the chores suck, but she got to go outside and have friends. I asked her if her uncle is still there and she said he's probably dead, but like, she sounded kinda happy about it. Was her uncle the adult who escorted her from home that night in November 1990? This would add more evidence to Laura being Debbie. We know there was a pair of adult footprints and she was advised to take items that made sense in the context of leaving for good. Only an adult figure would have recommended that. Mom apologized about not wanting to go out and I decided I wanted some answers. I asked if she was raising me the same way she was raised. She said yes, but also no, which doesn't really answer the question. Apparently she joined a commune when she was a kid and lived with her uncle. She told me about some of the other adults, but there were a lot of kids. It sounds like it was a village and she was able to go outside but not leave the area. And, there's that children's book Debbie made, with a scene of a little boy and a little girl and a lesson about gardening. Again, having to do with root systems. Perfect little apples. Gotta give it up for this extra touch too, printing out a book on top of the cartoon work. Don't be surprised if this ends up in a dead drop too if they ever do one. That would be a fun receive. And that, for now, is where it stands. No, actually, that isn't where it stands. I'm not done here. A piece of this picture is bothering me, and I asked myself about it enough that I think I've seen the edge of a sticker and started peeling it back. And now I've got to tell you what's underneath. And I don't mean how the game character Tolly is just an anagram of Eliot. That is weird, and I can't explain the intention there yet, but I've got to bring this to your attention. It does start with Tolly, actually. The entire way through the ARG, we've been told this is a KMW product, right? KMW made Eliot and Ella. They made Giggleland. Why, then, would they include something as dark, adult, and upsetting to kids and parents as alcohol and pills at a character-actor mirror? Why is there a general horror game vibe all around in this circumstance? Why is there a horror game vibe in the ads for this game by KMW? Because it's a Mascot horror game, Nick. Yeah, I know, it's supposed to be that way, I get that. But look at the whole picture around this game. The ad that led us here, the code it involved, the YouTube video ID code listed as a developer, the busted amateur website for this game using screenshots from the game that are also on Steam, creating a thorough connection. The ARG utilizes that broken amateur website as well as an old, potentially archived and corrupted KMW site, with codes, puzzles, and a document that points us in the direction of Sarah and her runaway mother. And Giggleland was not listed as an actual product under KMW's banner, right? We had to add that to a URL to find that page, which just gave us another clue in the hunt. I've been bringing up the question of Eliot and Ella Media being corrupted as we've been seeing it and wondering what's going on there. But without details that lead us to a conclusion on the matter, we just have to shrug. Ordinarily. Unless you can explain it, and the explanation is plausible. I've said in the past that if you're going the immersion route for an unfiction project or ARG, your greatest show of strength in writing is justifying the existence and utilization of elements. Make it make sense to exist beyond just being a delivery vehicle for info to keep the game going. If you're using a Facebook page or some other kind of means of expression, make it part of the narrative and justify its existence. It's not mandatory, but it takes us a layer deeper in a way that's truly impressive if we understand and agree with the way the game operates in terms of platform and construction by characters. It's solid, thorough writing. What if that's exactly what's happening here? Is Giggleland a legitimate KMW product? Or is it entirely made up with an associated ARG and animated pieces or edited animated pieces, all crafted by a single character or a group of characters in the universe of the story, specifically doing it to harass Debbie and provoke Sarah out of hiding? Why would KMW allow something like this? Why would they ever authorize an entire game like this, or include such transparent horror in their website? The alternate reality game we've been playing might have been designed by someone from the commune or against the commune, not KMW itself. The only truly legitimate viewpoint in this entire construct is Sarah. And here's another thing for you to think about, okay? We understand through Sarah that Debbie escaped with friends. She no longer talks to those friends. That means somewhere out in this world, if they're alive, there are people who know who Debbie is, who know her background, who probably have an idea where she is and that she has a daughter that she's raising in secret. There can be multiple options for who is creating Giggleland and this media attached to it. But I don't believe assuming it's KMW itself is the smartest route. The game is most likely not a half of the experience that's being built up to. It might be a major component of the grand design by whoever's doing this. And we cannot trust the Eliot and Ella media we've been seeing. The game appears to be an in-universe fictional theme park edutainment sort with not-so-friendly elements composed by warped psychologists whose therapeutic device might just make more trauma. It's bugging out in ways that normally read as being haunted or maliciously coded, and it's like the associated cartoon, Eliot and Ella, is equally affected. But I can't shake this feeling. We're meant to pay far more attention to the conflict of this screenshot in this game, supposedly made by KMW, Kids Media Workshop. The picture doesn't add up. Making a game that turns their own therapeutic cartoon characters into victims in horrors doesn't logically make sense. Putting kids into this gameplay scenario is malicious and transparent. If you want to provoke somebody knowing they came from this background, even if you're not affiliated with the cult, it makes perfect sense. Then you might design a whole crazy info-loading experience around it that leads directly to the daughter you're trying to capture or scare out of hiding, or make curious enough to get out of her home. Oh man, it feels like I'm going out a bit on a limb here, and I'm either going to reach the apple at the end or fall off by trying this angle. But now that I've seen this possibility, I need to lay it out there. I just can't accept anymore that this is actually Kids Media Workshop doing this. It doesn't fit. Don't trust it. Time is going to show us what's happening. It may very well be the entire ARG and Steam game is a character's construction as the driving force of this narrative. Okay, where do we go from here? The most active lead is obviously Sarah, and as our protagonist character, because yes, we now certainly have one, we need to wait until she's ready to act, or encourage her to make a move, after her recovering from the shock. She's really a little frozen right now, but as always, something's going to give. Maybe we could see what that episode was with a phone recording she makes. I'm curious to see it. I've got to hand it to the game masters and writers. I am impressed. I'm invested, I'm excited, and oh my god, I have no idea how you intend to tie the Giggleland game into this in such a way it truly moves with the ARG have and makes sense as existing. Like, you really gotta justify that game as a whole component of this. That's a challenge here, but I believe you're gonna do it. And I sincerely hope that it truly is a half of all this and it converses with the online portion in a way that makes a truly rich experience. I'll be the one to say it if nobody else has yet. This can't be just to promote a game, and the game is successful in sales and that's the end of it. This ARG experience is too good, and there's too much passion and actual quality and thinking behind it. What you have here is an opportunity to do it big time. Seriously, on the quality scale of the indie heroes of the field right now playing in this subgenre. I'm emotionally invested in your success as artists delivering a unique experience on the entire plate of what's gone into this. I am rooting for you to bring it home. It can be so extraordinary. Delay the game if you ever have to find it's necessary to do so. Make sure it comes out awesome and truly unique. This is shaping up as another blow to the end of the tropes and cash grabs era of Mascot horror. But you gotta live in the integrity and passion you've shown here. If the impression you wanted to make at the start was that it's another shitty cash grab Mascot horror and you trick people, you did a good job according to some of the things that I've seen, and I know you've seen it too, and probably had a little bit of a laugh and a little bit of a worry. But you've got something here that is really shaping up awesome. Giggleland is an awesome new ARG experience, and if as much thought and clever design has gone into the downloadable game that will be released on Steam, it's going to be so much better than just a week of Let's Players and streamers giving it the spotlight. I'm tall enough to enter this park, and when this drops, I'm playing it live on Twitch, and absolutely will have the VOD uploaded to NM Live, where 15 other nights of online investigations have been uploaded in edited, well-paced fashion. including the classic Slenderman series Tulpa Effect and the previously mentioned Underwater Wonders. If you like Giggleland, you're going to love Underwater Wonders, and I definitely check out Pen Creative Library too. It's all more Nightmind, just done live, and I'll put out word in advance for the playthrough when it's time. Yeah, we're gonna play this. Also, a little heads up from the devs via Discord announcements. You can expect the new website to launch toward the end of February. In the meantime, keep an eye out for more fun surprises to be posted. We've decided not to take down the old website so that new members of the community can still experience it for themselves. We're still at the beginning of what we've been preparing for you. However, some things may take time to finalize, so we sincerely appreciate your patience. So yeah, there's more coming. That idea of a new website is interesting. Wonder if it'll be in-game or out-of-game. Either way, I'm here for it. And another deeply celebration-worthy news drop I had to jump on the mic again to include after finishing my narration. I saw it and I just woke up. I saw it, I had to jump on here for this. The devs have announced through a Giggleland letter that after several questions of whether or not the game will be chapter-based, they want to inform us the answer is no. Giggleland delivers one complete, uninterrupted story. No forced breaks, no waiting between chapters, no disrupted immersion. You'll experience the story exactly as intended from start to finish. They know the score, everybody. I told you earlier I suspected they're very aware of this scene's trends too, and they designed with it in mind against them. Once Giggleland is out, it's the full ticket. Good on you, devs. Make your vision real and show them it can be done this way. Thanks for giving this exploration a chance if you were skeptical. And you know what? I'm never one for wish listing. I just kind of keep track of something I'm gonna maybe buy. But care to join me in wishlisting Giggleland on Steam? Every developer says it helps them a lot. I literally don't know how. Maybe it's an algorithm thing, but hit that up if you're feeling supportive. Hard to subscribe to anything in the ARG for cohesive updates, but you can subscribe here to Nightmind and to Nightmind Live to stay tuned for any updates on this project that I have, messages about the premiere gameplay night, and new Unfiction and ARG explorations all the time. If you want to catch the live stuff as I'm streaming, subscribing to NM Live is the best way to get alerts via my community posts, and if you're on Twitch, follow Nick_Nocturne. That's all for tonight, everyone. Thanks to the creators of Giggleland for making Giggleland. Thanks to all the players, mods, and admins of the Giggleland Discord server for giving this game a healthy player base and great findings organization. Thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks to my beloved Graphigato, without whom I wouldn't even have gotten the lead about Giggleland, and I wouldn't have this delightful Eliot edit of me. Thanks again, dear. I love you. And thanks to my supporters on Patreon, who empower not just Nightmind, but the Nightmind Index for new, undiscovered, and emerging unfiction projects. Patreon also supports my editor Moon, who you'll be seeing a lot more through his work all across NM Live and on future Nightmind videos. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like an old pair of characters who'd love to say hello, you'll be seeing me again real soon. Until next time, sleep tight.